You're listening to Nothing Small About Business, where big thinking meets real world action. Ready to level up? Let's get into it.
Today's guest is the founder and president of the Autism Helper. She's a board-certified behavior analyst and former special education teacher. She works full-time as a consultant, writer, and behavior analyst, and manages and writes the Autism Helper blog as a way to share easy-to-use and ready-to-implement strategies and ideas. She travels internationally as a speaker and consultant, providing individualized training and feedback to parents, educators, therapists, and administrators in the world of autism. She is currently an adjunct professor in the School of Applied Behavior Analysis at the Chicago School of Professional Psychology. She received her undergraduate degree in special education from Miami University and has a master's degree in applied behavior analysis from the Chicago School of Professional Psychology. Sasha Long, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, so your story is really interesting to me because you truly took something that you were passionate about and you turned it into a very successful business.
Yeah.
And this happened during COVID, right?
Well, that's when things escalated, I would say. I mean, I started the Autism Helper technically around 15 years ago. I feel like a very accidental business owner.
Those are the best.
Yes, it really is. But during COVID is when we launched our first course and I think realized the potential there to just like continue to add different revenue streams. Like we were really in one area prior to that. And now we've really grown different types of ways to make money and reach our customers and reach our audience.
Okay. So for those that aren't familiar with the Autism Helper, can you explain like what the company is, like where you started from in the beginning days and what it's become today?
So I was a special ed teacher for CPS and I had just gotten my master's in applied behavior analysis. And I literally was at a trolley at my childhood best friend's wedding, going to take pictures. And her new sister-in-law was like, hey, I sell teacher resources through this third-party website. And I made $10,000. I was like, $10,000? I was like, I'm in. And I literally carried, I always laugh about this, carried my desktop computer from my CPS classroom home to my apartment and set up in my dining room table. And my husband's like, I don't even think we were married then. I was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I got a plan.
I'm going to make $10,000.
I'm going to make $10,000. And I started selling my resources because I created in my classroom, every resource I used, I created. Like you don't have a preset curriculum.
Oh, wow. Is that normal or do they normally give you?
No, it's pretty normal. Like there's not a lot of options. Well, now there's some options as we have one, but there's not a lot of options for curriculum for special ed teachers. So you make a lot of the things yourself.
Wow.
And I got in at a right time. Like there were not a lot of special ed teachers on this platform. And so the timing was really ideal. And that time period, those first years were really fun because I didn't have kids. Matt was working crazy hours. I would teach all day and I would just sit on my computer till like 11 p.m. But I loved it. Like I would make a resource. I would use the resource in my class. I would make a blog post and a YouTube video about it.
Okay.
Post that and then do it again and do it again and do it again. And it
Rinse
all
and repeat.
Yes. And it was this all like perfect cycle. Like everything I did helped my classroom, but it also made me money and helped. I started reaching this like global audience of teachers and parents that needed help. And
so
just
cool.
turned on that for a while.
So it's really neat that you can take something that you're passionate about and you genuinely want to help people. I can tell like from your nature that you genuinely want to help people. And the fact that you can turn that and see, okay, I'm doing this for one classroom. Why can't I do this for every classroom across the globe?
Yeah, literally. It would be like teachers reaching out from South Africa, from Australia. Hey, can you make this with Canadian currency? And this is working in my classroom in Ireland. And it was really cool to see like these teachers all around the world had the same struggles I did. And these resources were helping them. So
when you started the company, did you ever imagine you'd be changing the currency on these programs?
Literally no. I was like, oh, this is just me. Like I'll make $10,000 and I'll be happy. Like that was literally my goal.
Well, I'm sure you're far past that at this point. So, okay. So in the very beginning, you started with resources. And that means like workbooks.
It was all digital downloads, which is awesome because people are like, aren't you're like laminating this for me? I'm like, no, people buy a PDF. And then
your pencil and
yes, yeah. No, people literally buy a PDF and they prep it themselves. So it was, less kind of like lesson plans, worksheets, adapted books, things that would help in the classroom.
Okay. And where are you getting your ideas for these? Just doing your own research, things you saw worked in your classroom?
It was like I was at this point a veteran teacher. I knew what worked, what didn't. I also had recently graduated with my master's in applied behavior analysis. So I had a lot of experience with like data collection and using all of these strategies as well. So I wanted things that were robust and evidence-based too in my classroom, not just like a cutesy worksheet.
Right. Yes. Okay. So the company starts with that.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit. So now you're not in the classroom physically anymore. So
Yeah.
talk to me through that period of time. What happened?
So I
in your
left the
business?
classroom a little bit before that. I left after my first child was born. I took my maternity leave with CPS because, why not? And then I left when my daughter was born. And then that was when I was able to like fully dedicate myself like to all of this. And before COVID, we started our membership. And that was our first kind of something very different than we had never done. We had only done these PDF resources and digital downloads. And I was doing a lot of trainings at this time. Like even when I was in the classroom, I would fly out to other school districts and do presentations and do consulting. Like I would use personal days and just do that. So I was doing a lot of trainings in person and traveling a lot at that point. Like right before COVID, those like 2018, 2019, those summers, I was gone like 30 days in June and July, like doing presentations. And I was like, this is not sustainable. We at this point have 2 kids. And how can I get this training to people without me flying to their district?
Physically.
Yes. Because people are like all the time, like, can you send me your slides? And I was like, no, because my slides aren't my presentation. Like
You are the presentation, right? You're the secret sauce behind this.
So we had this idea of a membership that would provide training, like short and sweet videos, 5 to 10 minutes that teachers could log on every month, learn a few things. The next month, new concepts came out, that it would really drip this content to you in a way that felt manageable, not like an 8-hour training. So we launched that in 2019, and then we launched our first course in 2020. And the timing of our first course was kind of good in a weird way. It was like the silver lining of COVID. We had the course like 80% recorded at that point, and COVID hit. And our developers at that point were like, hey, you should launch this course now. Like
people are available.
They're home. And we were like, all right, I'm 7 months pregnant with my 3rd kid at this point. We have no childcare. We would wake up at 4 a.m. to finish recording it because we were like, we got to get this done. And so we launched in March and we sold like 900 licenses. Like it was insane.
Were you guys blown away?
My second webinar that I did, because I do a webinar to sell a course, we did a webinar 2 weeks later, and I thought we had unlimited capacity for people. And I always tell people like, oh, if you're having trouble logging on, just X out and refresh. That's my strategy. So people were doing that. They were getting kicked out of this webinar and couldn't get kicked back in because we had 2,000 people live, and that was our maximum. And we didn't even know that. So we got off this webinar with like 200 emails of people pissed off they couldn't get in. We upped our limit, and the next webinar, the next week, we had 5,000 teachers live. Like it was insane.
And you're probably panicking in that moment that people, you're like, my company's over. Everyone's, this was like a dream come true that now is just completely.
You know what? I didn't even think that. I just felt bad that people were like kicked off. And I mean, you don't realize it when you're live even how many people are there, but like you're just in the mode of presenting. And
I love that was probably such a stretch number that you didn't even have it in your head of like, should we see what the capacity is?
No, I was like, I don't know, 2,000? Like,
great. We might get a couple hundred. It would be amazing.
Yeah.
How did you get that much success early on? Did you already have your database built?
I mean, at that point, by COVID, I'd probably been doing this about 8 years by 2020. So it was consistency. Like in the start, I blogged 7 days a week, like every day I wrote a blog. And then I was like, okay, I'll take the weekends off. And then I was like, okay, I'll do 3 days a week. But I blogged nonstop. I went on Pinterest nonstop. I mean, this was like the booming days of Pinterest when I started.
Okay, which I think is starting to come back now as a resource.
I think so too. There's vintage pins of mine that are still circulating.
Those are probably great.
Circa 2013, but I was on Pinterest constantly. I was blogging constantly. And I also was on YouTube right away. This was, before Instagram, before even like Facebook Lives, but that was the first video modality. And I had no shame. Like people would be like, oh, you have a YouTube video? I'm like,
well, it's cringy till it's cool.
I didn't care. I didn't even think about it. Like the first classroom tour video I did, I had Matt come and take the video with like a digital camera, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
I thought it would be 5 minutes and it was 45 minutes. He's like, my arms. Like,
We should invest in a tripod.
I'm like talking. So people still tell me like, oh, I watched your first classroom tours from like 2012 and 2013. And like, that was like
cool.
so helpful to me. And they're still on YouTube.
They're still relative.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch this. We're going to pull them up right after this. We're going to have a movie night.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So those are the early days.
Yeah.
You do these courses, no shame. You put yourself
Yeah.
out there, early adapter.
Yeah.
And then consistency starts kicking in.
Yeah.
Okay. So you do these first webinars and you have a membership program.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you evolve from then a membership program to now you're offering courses?
So the courses, I realized later, we probably should have done this in reverse order. We probably should have done courses first, get people in, and then you sell them the membership. Because like a membership, even now, we realize we're in year 4 of the membership, 5 of the membership. It's a commitment. People are afraid of the commitment a little bit.
Like a gym membership.
Yes. But like a trial, like a 10-pack of classes, I'll do that, you know? And that's kind of what a course is. And we now have 6 online courses. And we usually release 1 a year. And that, I think, is an easier entry point for people to be like, okay, I'll take a course. I do think now, 5 years later, even like the online course, like atmosphere is changing a little bit. I think people are getting a little burnt out on online courses. So we're trying to think of like, this year we did a mini course. We did a course that was 65 minutes instead of a 6-hour course.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just to like,
you do hear of a lot more courses now.
Yeah. And I think people are a little, especially in the education space, are a little sick of virtual learning.
Okay.
I was very much back in person this summer. Like I had been doing virtual trainings for 4 years exclusively almost. And this summer I was gone every week. So
okay. So you're seeing a shift a little bit in the industry.
Seeing a little bit of a shift. Yeah.
So for small business owners that are out there listening or people that are considering doing a course.
Yeah.
Because that is a buzzword right now. Get your course out there. Where would you suggest that they start with that?
I think going sometimes a little smaller is better. It's tempting to put like all of your knowledge into one course. Like, let me make this one mega course that does everything. It doesn't need to. Like, it could be a course that's runtime is 100 minutes, 120 minutes, that's on just one specific topic that you know of. And I think that allows you to then make other courses. You know, it's not like, oh, well, I put everything I know into this one course.
That's all I got.
That's all I got. You know, like if you're like, let's say a photographer and you're like, I want to do a course on how to, I don't know, something with, maybe you do like one course on just wedding photography and one course on newborn photography. It allows you to have more content, but to also niche yourself.
Niche it. Yes. Right. Yeah, that's interesting. And then there's different audiences that's probably going to resonate with. They don't want the other stuff. They just specifically want that one topic.
And it allows you to make the price point more palatable too. I think if you have this mega course, you're tempted with a higher price point. And then people are like, do I want to spend that amount on a course? I don't know.
Am I going to complete the course?
Yes.
Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah.
I noticed that masterclass, I don't know when they changed this over, but the first time I signed up for masterclass, they had you bought it for the year, and now you can do a monthly membership that's much smaller. And I'm like, oh, I'll go back into masterclass because Kim Kardashian just came out with one, and that's interesting.
Yeah. So, it allows people, to not, if you don't have to make a big investment, I think that's a plus because you're just like trying it out, and that's okay.
I think that's more palatable too for people that are considering making a course.
Yeah.
Is like start small.
It's not
and like figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Get your mistakes out of the way, get all the kinks worked out. And there's so much technology now that there's so much that you can put together and it can look really professional, and it doesn't have to take forever.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
You're not like turning the wheel over here.
You're not trying to like hire a team to come film your course. Like you can do it all yourself with stuff from Amazon. I mean, we film in my basement with things from Amazon. And it's fine.
And it's working out just fine.
Great. Yeah.
So how have you seen the industry then change as you've evolved over the last, 5 years or so with this?
I think being authentic is really important. I think people are shying away from this very curated, everything is the perfect filter on your Instagram and everything's very like scripted, and people don't connect with that.
Right.
I think staying in your niche and staying in your lane is really important. I was thinking about that on the drive over here. I think that doesn't mean you can't expand, but I think knowing who your customer is very clearly and like making sure you're always talking to them. Like you're not trying to be everything for everyone. I think people that comes off as like phony and inauthentic.
Right. And when social media like first came out, I was in college, you know, I
Yeah.
had my Ball State ID
Yeah.
to get in there. And it was like, you shared what you were eating. You shared, like when I see my updates from 20, I'm like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. And so now it's changed so much. But then people do get sick of that, like you said. And it's like, I don't want you constantly selling me on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, show me some behind the scenes. Show me that, you know, you're not perfectly polished
Yes.
24/7.
I think that's a good point. The not selling 24/7. Like we're active basically on every social media platform now. And we sell a lot. We have different promotions happening all the time. And we have different tools and promotions that we're trying to sell, but we can't only be sharing that. You know, we're always cognizant of like, okay, let's have a post that's just something that's informational. Like right now, it's right before Christmas. We're doing this 12 days of giving and we're picking different donors choose projects to fulfill, like balancing other types of promotions within your sales. Because if it's only like selling, we'll follow that like Instagram influencer that's like, all right, here's another code for this. And you're like, I'm bored.
Can you stop with the codes?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, I hear you on that completely. Okay, so as the industry is changing with memberships and courses, is that something that you see eventually blending the two, or is that two completely different sales channels?
In my mind, they're pretty similar. It's a similar type of person that will buy either. We try to cross-sell them a lot, and we include like our course, for example, within the membership. And if people buy a course, then their next step for us is always like, okay, well, if you like the course, you'd love the membership. So I think there are nice ways to cross-sell. And I think the more opportunities in your business you have to have those like similar tracks, you're like creating a customer that was a good customer into like a super fan. Because if they like the one thing and the product, to make that happen, the products have to be good. Like
I was going to say, they're seeing success in their classrooms. It's helping them out. It's helping their students. It's helping their school.
Yeah.
That's number one. It has to be good.
Yeah. And we have, you know, we're lucky. We have a lot of super fans. And this has allowed us to grow really quickly. This has allowed us to grow into different channels and different areas because people now, like we post a product, people don't even look at the preview. They just buy it because they know they know the brand, they know the name. The platform that I started selling on 15 years ago, Teachers Pay Teachers, is super oversaturated right now with like bots and people just like also, I'm going to make money. I'm going to go on there and just like kind of putting not great things out there. Even if I go try to find like a word search for my kid, it's hard to use at this point for me because there's so many sellers. We haven't really felt that because we started early, but we have this like great name recognition that people know if we put something out, it's going to be good. And that's, I think, within any space, whether it's, you know, education or whatever industry you're in, if your product is good, people keep coming back.
Right. And a lot of people are putting together, just throwing something together, but they're missing the value there.
Yeah.
Another area that I find interesting that I want your opinion on is people get worried about putting too much out there because now they're giving away their secret sauce.
For free. Yeah.
For free.
Yeah.
Tell me what your mentality is about that.
You know, I think that you can say the same thing in a lot of different ways and a lot of different times, and it takes people a while to hear it. Like, I've got like 8 shticks that I share basically, and I share them in different ways all the time. And people aren't like, I heard that already, Sasha. Like, no, they just like, it also takes a while for things to click. So I think that you can be sharing some of the how without sharing all of the how. Like one thing, we've been really successful with webinars. We use webinars to sell our memberships, sell our courses. And I keep thinking, like, webinars are done, right? Like, I've probably done at this point, like 60 to 80.
You could do them in your sleep.
Yes, I can. I used to stress about them. I don't. I'm like, okay, I got to do them tonight. And my standard setup for a webinar is I teach for 45 minutes and I sell for 15. And people stay on for the sales pitch without fail. Like people don't drop off. It's wild to me. And we still, like, we did a webinar a month ago and we had 900 people on one, 1,500 people on the other. Like, people are still showing up for them. And
that just shows that they feel like it's
yes,
valuable.
they
It's
feel,
worth their
yes,
time.
they're coming for the teaching. But I mean, it's always wild to me. They stay for the sales pitch, even if they own the product. Like they're like, I'm in the membership, and I'm like, cool, you can go.
You can go to Bob now.
But that methodology has always been really good for us. And when I create a webinar, I think about, I'm highlighting the problem. I'm highlighting how you solve the problem, like the solution without telling the whole solution. And then I give like part of the solution, basically. Like I'm like, okay, if this is a struggle in your classroom, a few things you need to do are X, Y, and Z. I'm going to talk a little bit about X. And I'm going to throw you a download for X too. So you can even try it tomorrow.
Okay.
Y and Z are cool too, but you got to join the membership of the course
To hear what those
yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to who you are and the energy that you bring is also a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And then I think with these memberships and these courses, there's an accountability piece to it.
Yeah.
And there's a community.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that. Like, what do you guys focus on for your sales channels? Is it content, community? Like, where do you see the biggest impact when you guys are, growing these different areas?
I think community has changed a little bit. I think it used to be more important and more valuable, and people that like brought people to platforms now. I see people getting a little burnt out on it. Like engagement is not great. And I think people are just like tired and like don't want to communicate online. We have a lot of avenues for community within all our courses. We have like a news feed where people can like comment and ask questions. For community now, I'm seeing recently what's really important for us is being on point with customer service. If people email us, we email them back. We email them back a thoughtful answer. It seems like people would almost rather email us to ask the question than like post on somewhere.
Okay.
Which is interesting. But I think you can almost think about Instagram and Facebook and any of these platforms as a way to have community, because people are seeing you say a problem that they have too. And they're seeing people like that or comment. Even if they don't comment, they're like, oh, me too. I got that problem also.
I can't tell you how many times somebody that I didn't know either listened to my content or did something, but I had no idea. There was no engagement, but I see them in person. They're like, oh my God. I'm like, wait, what? I had no idea.
So it's still creating community, even if you don't always see the engagement numbers there.
And sometimes the community on Facebook groups, for example.
Yeah.
There's so many people in that group because it's so easy to click like add that you don't feel like you actually know anyone in that group.
Yeah.
But sometimes the smaller ones have a much better engagement because you actually feel like you know the people or can have a back and forth.
Yeah.
Over more than just like one post or one topic.
I think you get like caught up in numbers sometimes of like, I need to have this many followers or this many people on my email list. But if those people on your email list, if you have 50,000 people on your email list, but 30% of them have never once opened one of your emails and your click rates are super low, then that's not really 50,000 people on your email list. You want the right people following you on your list, in your channels, because they're the ones that are going to buy.
When would you recommend for people listening? When's a good time in someone's career to launch a course? Is it when you're ready? Is it when is a good time?
I think honestly, whenever, because to me, a course does feel like a low lift. And I know that's someone, I'm only saying that because maybe you're like, yeah, right, Sasha.
You're like, I promise you,
it's not that hard. And yes, I'm saying that after having done a bunch of courses, but there's so many tools that make it easy to do. And there's like from the actual tech in your house to editing and production and all that, like there's so many tools to help you do that. If you have an expertise level of knowledge in something and you're passionate about it, that's all you need, really.
And there's courses on how to make a course.
Oh, yes. There's literally, Meta. There's like memberships on how to make memberships.
You can go down a rabbit hole and then you get like, was it analysis paralysis?
Yes,
like overthink it so much that nothing happens.
I think that's a big problem people have, is this like indecision island of like, well, I need the perfect name and I need the perfect this. It's like, well, guys, like you have ChatGPT now. Like when I started, I had no ChatGPT. I had to think of all the names for everything on my own. But literally, that indecision and that like analysis paralysis will ruin it for you because you won't ever start.
Absolutely will.
If you make a course and 2 years later you don't like it, you re-record it or you take it down. Like,
delete it.
Who cares?
Like this with this podcast, I know that phase 1 was not going to have the perfect video on both guests when I'm doing in person.
Yeah.
But if I let that stall me, I would have never started the podcast. So I just knew, okay, we're going to start it and that's going to come in phase 2.
That's how I feel with literally everything. It's been like, we had a new developer for one of our platforms right now, and their model is the MVP, the minimally viable product. And that's hard for me as a type A person to wrap my brain around.
Okay.
Like, well, it should be minimally viable. It should be perfect and it should be great.
Sure.
But I kind of also in hindsight realized that's pretty much how I did everything. I think I'm maybe type A minus in some areas that I'm like, this is good enough to.
You're such a teacher that you just gave yourself an A minus.
That's true. But like, when I started blogging, my friend set up the template. I didn't proofread things. Like I just was like, that's good enough, post it. Like, and just making products that I loved, but like they weren't like exactly polished or whatever, but they were good. And that's, just doing things that don't have to be like, you don't have to overthink everything. And
Right.
the first iteration is sometimes okay. One of our biggest kind of revenue streams and products right now, we only launched like 2 or 3 years ago. And this is a curriculum subscription we're selling just to school districts.
Okay.
So it's more like B2B sales. It's very different than, just selling directly to teachers. A lot of our goals shifting our customer from the teacher to the school district. And the first iteration of that was literally a Google Drive folder. And we sold that to a massive school district, a big urban district, for a ton of money. And it was literally access to a Google Drive.
A Google Doc.
Yes. And from there, we were able to then use that money to hire developers to make our first iteration of curriculum access. And then we now rebuilt and relaunched a new platform in February. Now we're working on phase 2 of that. So it all is like, it doesn't have every feature I want right now, but it'll get there.
I love that. And then the time piece and the consistency kick in.
Yeah.
And now you have a successful business.
Yeah.
That, you can be proud of, as opposed to, well, I have a lot of notes and I have a lot of ideas, but I never launched it because I was too scared that it didn't look perfect.
Yes, exactly.
And with the use of Canva and all these different tools, it's like, it doesn't have to even take that long.
No.
You just have to take the first step and see where that goes. Okay. So as your business has been growing, talk to me about like how some of your systems and some of your processes had to change to keep up with the demand.
Yeah. I think our big shifts there were when I ran this company just by myself or with one employee versus now we have 9 employees. So that's a big shift because, okay, maybe I am type A. I just said I was A minus, but I'm a little bit like
You're A plus.
Yeah. I want my like hand in everything. And I had to realize that to do all of the things we do, I can't have my hand in everything. And I need to like I hired people that I trusted and I need to trust them then to like write emails and do their job and make sure everything is good and be able to have that accountability with my team. And we've been super lucky. Our team is amazing. But I think that shift from being at most things on me to now things on other people, it can't just be, we do this off of a spreadsheet or we just send Slack messages. Like we need to make sure there's an Asana project for it. Like we use Asana, which is a task management system. And, we have to have things be kind of systematized or else things are going to get forgotten because there's too many people involved now. So we have a great COO that helps manage a lot of our projects and kind of works as project manager as well. That helps us all stay organized, making sure every person is doing what they're supposed to do. But that was a big shift for me from me kind of doing everything to delegating. And that's a hard
right
for people sometimes.
Was that a huge decision to hire your first employee?
The first employee was honestly was an easy one. So we first hired my husband's cousin. And at that point, we had so much to do. And she's not in education, but we needed just like help, like admin help. And and each team member that we've hired has we've never like posted for a job. Things have happened pretty organically. Like a former colleague wanted to leave the classroom, or this person's looking for a job. I'm like, well, actually, you'd be great here.
Here's my business card.
Or like people have asked me, like, are you hiring anyone? I'm like, well, maybe you. Like, what do you want to do? So it was and it wasn't. If I think right now about our payroll, I stress out because that feels like a lot of pressure.
Is that also a fire though? Of like, I need to keep on my game?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Like, and during COVID, we had one employee and that was super stressful because I had a baby during COVID. So it wasn't like I could take a maternity leave. Like it was my salary, my husband's salary, our employee salary. I couldn't just like, I'm going to take 3 months off and hang out with my baby. Like I did a live webinar 4 weeks postpartum. Like, wow. And it was just like, I didn't have a choice.
You didn't have a choice.
Right. And like, so yeah, it's definitely a motivator. I don't think in a bad way, but like, yeah, like you have to keep things going well, if you want to make payroll, make sure everything's and grow too to hire more people.
And I think what's important is to constantly look at the way your systems and processes are working.
Yeah.
And know when it's time to change. Know when
Yeah.
something's not working.
Yeah, that's a good point. We did a big, because it's like in a small business, I think, you're shifting like roles and responsibilities a lot. Like what you're hired to do no longer makes sense for you to do, or as we hire someone else with more expertise. And a year ago, we did a big like role shift where we kind of looked at every single employee and like what exactly is their job description, and looking at what their strengths are, I think is really important. Like this person is super detail oriented. They're great at these types of tasks. This person is a great people person, and looking at their strengths, and really we redivided a lot of responsibilities, and that helped a lot. And I think at first people were like, oh, huh. But then it was good. It was more in line, I think, with what everyone was good at, and then made sense overall.
That is so cool that you did that.
Yeah.
Because you hire somebody, you like pigeonhole them in that
Yep.
spot.
Yep.
Well, this is what you've always done.
Yes.
You have no idea that they have all these other talents you can develop.
Yeah.
And as the company evolves and changes and different sales channels become larger than others,
Yeah.
that totally makes sense to do that. That's
Yeah.
really cool. How is it working with your husband?
Oh, it's good.
Is that a different episode?
It is really good in the big picture. It's great now. I think when we worked on a day-to-day basis more together, it was harder because and a lot of our team members are similar to me. We're all like worker bees. Like we're all very organized. We're all very detail oriented. He's a big idea person, and you for sure need both. And I will like give him credit that like our business would absolutely not be where it is today if it wasn't for like his big ideas. And the big ideas used to like from a range of scare me to piss me off. Like I'd be like, stop it. Stop it. I'm doing this one thing. Let me do this one thing good.
I'm already at capacity.
Yes. And he'd be like, what if? And now I think that we have a team. I'm not as irritated by those big ideas because I'm like, okay, I have people to help me implement the big ideas.
Yes, that's huge.
But you need the big idea person.
Yes.
And I didn't love the big ideas early on because I'm like, just thinking about how much work it would be. And, for example, like we have a podcast, and he for years brought up me starting a podcast, and I would literally tell him he wasn't allowed to talk about it. Because I was like, I can't, I have so much on my plate. I can't possibly think about this. And now, we're on episode 380 of our podcast.
I mean, amen. That is so incredible. The fact that you can say 380 podcasts, they're a lot of work. They're a lot of planning.
Yeah.
And there's millions and millions of podcasts, but most don't make it past the single digit of episodes. So 380 is wild.
So I guess you had a good idea.
I mean, once in a while, I can give them some kudos. Okay. So that kind of leads into one of my last questions is, where are you seeing, like, which marketing channel do you guys use that you are finding the most success in?
I would say right now our email list. And we were, I wouldn't say late to the game, but like I didn't start an email list day one. We actually really worked on building our list when we opened our Shopify store 3 years ago. So for most of the time I had this business, we sold on a third-party platform. With any third-party platform, whether it's a social media platform or an Etsy, if you're selling on, you just don't have control, And with this platform we're selling on, you don't get email lists. You don't get your customers, information. So we opened a Shopify store, which, by the way, is super easy to do if anyone wants to open a Shopify store.
I'm hoping one day Shopify is a sponsor of this podcast. So great plug.
Yes, we love Shopify. Very user-friendly. And we now have 2 stores. They're pretty much identical, but I was worried we were like cannibalizing our business, and we weren't at all. And because we have Shopify, we now get everyone's emails from that. We also really focus more on building our list. I mean, we send a ton of emails, and I would say in a bad way, but if someone purchases something or engages in some type of behavior, like clicks on a lead magnet, we now know about them. Like, oh, you downloaded this like literacy scope and sequence lead magnet that was free. I bet you would like this low price point literacy product. Oh, now you bought that. I bet you would like this high price point language arts curriculum.
There's so much information.
There's so much you can do with it.
Right.
And you can segment your list so well. You can look at, engagement trends and what people are buying. And if they bought this course, then they might like these products and they might like this. And we have seen so much success. I mean, you can see with your email platform how much money you're making too. Like, oh, that email brought in $2,000. Like, it's cool to see that. So I think email, just because you have absolute control.
And it's so automated now.
Yeah. Yes.
It probably was a lot of work initially setting up those
Yes.
channels and figuring
Yeah.
out person A is going to go up to contact B, down to C, and then they're
Yes.
going to go to D. But once you have that set
Yeah.
up,
And you can start it slow. I mean, this took us a while to get there,
Mhm.
but even like a monthly newsletter, like that's like a low lift, and you can put in some high value things in there and summarize what you've done. And people then click on that and like, there's a YouTube video in here, and that brings you to your YouTube channel. Oh, there's a cool reel. Like you can link to all these channels in your email.
and it's good to be strategic with all that.
Yeah.
I love your term, the low lift.
Yeah.
I'm going to start using that.
Yeah. Low lift. I mean, I think a monthly newsletter is like super palatable. Like we just added in a monthly newsletter for our curriculum access users. And I was at first like, we already have a membership newsletter and a regular newsletter, but it's like, okay, we can really curate that content. It's once a month, and they can be short. Like our emails are never long. It's like people are visual. They want to see a few pictures. They want a few lines of text and one.
That's a great point. It doesn't need to be this whole this
No.
whole story. This
No.
long,
Think about it. If you open an email and you see like text, you're like, oh my God, no.
give me one bullet point of what I need to do.
Yeah.
And I will do it.
Yeah. Catchy subject and I'm good,
Done. Yes. Amazing. Okay. I really wish we could dive a little bit deeper into all these things, but we do have to start wrapping up. One thing that I like to leave listeners with is, what is the one thing that you would tell people, small business owners, entrepreneurs, what's one thing they can do today to implement into their business?
I think getting really, really focused and really bright. I'm a visual person. So maybe even writing down who your ideal customer avatar is and looking at that every quarter, every year, and like reminding yourself. Like I literally write down like, who is my ideal customer? And we sometimes move away from that a little bit in our content just as we're like creating and doing things. And maybe this person would like this, but it's okay to be super niched. And when you're super niched, you might think, well, I have less customers, but those customers really need you then. So I think honing in on who is this ideal customer and like literally writing that out. They are this age, they work here, these are things they do. And it helps you brainstorm like, these are ways I can connect with them. This is the type of content I can make. These are maybe how I could even tweak my products. And that exercise I try to do regularly because it always, as I said, like leads to other ideas.
That's a great tip. And that can evolve over time
Yeah,
too. So
for sure.
that's really interesting. That's something that we haven't done in our business. And I think we'll have to sit down and try that. Yeah, that's super interesting. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast
Thanks so much for having
today.
me. This was so fun.
Please come back in the future. I'm so curious to keep going down this avenue of courses and stuff because it's just, they're not going away. So I love to hear how they evolve. So
Awesome. Thank you.
all right. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Nothing Small About Business. Make sure you follow the show so you don't miss the value in upcoming episodes. Share this with someone who's growing and connect on socials for more.